You can say a cuss word.
Yeah.
Without little ears.
Comfortably.
Comfortably.
It does happen sometimes. It will slip out. Society's family unit is in crisis as less and less people are making the commitment of a lifelong partnership together. It has been normalized, encouraged, and easier than ever to just throw in the towel when the going gets tough. With time at a premium, start by spending 20 minutes per week gaining thought-provoking inspiration towards a journey of self-improvement, ultimately improving your marriage, your family, your health, and your home. What is a date night? Why is date night important? Today's episode will provide tips and ideas for date night itself and how to make it a priority versus a luxury. We will also touch on why date night is vital to your marriage and family dynamic. If you want your marriage to thrive, this episode is a must listen.
Welcome to the Family Order Podcast. We're going to shift our focus back to the marriage pillar now that we've wrapped up our summer series on parenting. Relationship experts consistently point to date night as one of the keys to keeping the spark alive in a marriage or a long-term relationship. The idea is to continue to court each other like you did when before you were married. Date night is a great way to reconnect with your partner and rekindle the feeling of romance and love. Date night can be a planned event, or a couple can simply take time for themselves away from kids for an activity. Sounds simple, right? All too often, date night slows down or stops with kids and work and everything else that fills up that time. Therefore, more couples can't execute on the idea of continuing to court one another as time goes on. Your budget might even get in the way, but you can always find ways to hold a date night at home on the cheap. Pro tip, don't let your entire world revolve around your kids or work. We've fallen into that trap in the past, and it started to cause a lot of problems over time. It's healthy for you and your kids to have some time away from each other, even if it gives you some initial anxiety.
We've committed to weekly date night because
Weekly
date night.
We're at weekly now.
And if we don't, it just falls off the radar. Life's just too busy. And you need to schedule things like this and make it a priority. Date night for us includes going to the range, patio lounging, shopping, many other activities. The trick is we actually like spending time together. And that doesn't just happen, right? Sometimes it takes being intentional, planning some things, a little bit of thought, a little bit of effort. The important thing is to keep up the momentum in our relationship that we lose throughout the week, and it can happen really fast. Mm-hmm. And you don't realize it until all of a sudden it's too late. And then it's going to take a lot more work to rebuild back up to that place you were at. For us, the ability to talk and finish a conversation without the kids around is huge, monumental, gargantuan, whatever you want to put in there. We also need to remove other distractions that we didn't used to have, like phones and social media, right?
That's my favorite part of date night is being able to finish a conversation without being finish a thought. I'm sorry. Without being interrupted. So, and that's just the way that my brain works. There are so many times, like when we are on our morning walk and we're talking, and I'm in the middle of a thought, and Cadence will interrupt us, and then it's gone. Poof. Just gone. And I have no idea what I was saying or why. But it was important. Like... So that's my favorite part of date night is just being able to finish a conversation, a sentence without losing my train of thought.
That's your favorite part? Really? No, just kidding.
Because what I have to say is important.
Yeah, it's good to feel listened to by somebody, right?
Yes.
Well, and I think we like being focused on and being able to focus on each other for a bit too. Because the kids aren't focused on us. throughout the day, we're always focused on their needs and what they want and answering all their questions. And even KJ, when she has friends over, you got to focus on them. So you're always serving other people, and it's nice to have somebody pay attention to you. Yes. And being home during COVID this last year, we really thought it just felt great to take a shower and get ourselves freshened up and get ready to go out, maybe dress up a little. It doesn't have to be tuxedo or suit and tie or a ball gown,
pants.
But just actual jeans and like a nice shirt,
something with a button.
Right. Yeah, may actually have to put a belt on too. It's crazy. It's definitely good to feel like, get yourself in that frame of mind to be able to cut loose, have some fun, and it's just a good change from wearing PJs all day. I would say my favorite part of date night, though, is probably, especially for you, but for me too, getting out of parent mode. Just the exhausted, frustrated, irritated look on each other's face all day. And, it's not terrible, but after a whole week, you're just like, oh my gosh.
Especially right now, folks, you have to realize we are at 17 months of being home as a family without leaving. No,
Yeah.
We leave, but like
not very
no
often.
traveling, going from working a 9 to 5, Ben traveling, Cadence being at public school, to 17 straight months of being home together.
In less than 2,000 square feet, just on top of each other all day.
Yeah, so we realize we need date night now more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah, it's probably why we've ramped it up so much.
Mm-hmm.
You just, like we said, you feel like adults for once. You can have adult conversation, and you're not watching kids shows in the background and cleaning up toys all day and dealing with all that stuff. You can feel like actual adults.
So we didn't always have a date night, especially not one that we scheduled the way that we do now. Even after having KJ, we were married for 5 years prior to having her. So that meant that it was just us and we could go out whenever we wanted. So connecting wasn't an issue for us back then, and our life was a lot simpler.
Yeah, we said we didn't ever fight. And
yeah, we never fought before children.
We didn't have any issues, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't have date night still, but it was just a lot simpler.
Yeah, all we had was dogs, and they didn't interrupt us as much.
Maybe a little bit.
And they didn't ask questions.
Bowser was pretty needy sometimes.
So, you add 2 kids, a house, and much busier work schedules, and suddenly you notice how far you have drifted apart from your spouse. Our parents didn't really go on date nights, at least from my recollection, or even trips together, honestly. So time wasn't a priority for them. And obviously it was a different time back then. But it wasn't until recently that we even took a trip without our kids and even found this consistency now that we have with date nights.
And we really look forward to our date nights now, especially as we've been building the consistency and making it happen. Come hell or high water, we're going to go on a date night because we really like it. And we find ourselves thinking about it earlier in the week, oh, what are we going to do this Saturday?
This week.
What do I want to go do? Where do I want to eat? What kind of conversation can we have? Are there some things that I want to be able to discuss in a relaxed state and not with kids around? So, and here are some ideas that we wanted to give everyone on, even some cheap date nights and some ideas to keep it fresh. I think there could be some folks worried about, if I have a weekly date night, we're going to run out of ideas. This is going to get...
Don't get us wrong. Ours are not, it's not cheap. But
not always. No.
But luckily we're in a position where we don't have to do that. Now, if there's things that you can do on the cheap.
Sure.
If you need to. And it can still be a date night.
Right. And it can be hard if you need to get help from family members to watch the kids. I know that can be hard to ask for sometimes. Sometimes I think we tend to wait for them to offer it. And if you were just to go ask, you might be surprised how how they may say, no, actually, that'd be great. I'd love to actually spend some time with the kids and really take them somewhere or do something with them. So you might even have to get multiple babysitters to rotate.
We have multiple babysitters, if you're wondering how we do this.
Yeah, we've done that for quite a while. Even before Braden, you sometimes have to have some backup. And you can trade off with friends that have kids too, and that's actually nice because that's technically free. Something to keep in mind, and it doesn't have to be overly complicated or be this big production or big excursion that you go somewhere really fancy every time. You know, for some folks, not necessarily in our situation, but for some folks, date night at home is great if you can get the kids taken somewhere else, obviously. You can eat in and just watch a movie. It can be simple. Turn off the technology and play a board game together. Or turn on some candles and just listen to some music. Have a drink together at home, you know. You could.
For our situation, we don't consider those date nights because we do that on a weekly basis too.
Yeah, we've talked about before. We put them to bed at a certain time, and then we have a couple hours of adult time without little ears listening to everything we say.
We'll watch a movie. Like, we'll put our computers and stuff away. This is typically a Friday night that we put the computers away and everything. We'll watch a movie. If it's not Devil's Sauna outside, we'll try and go outside and just sit and drink and listen to music and talk and things like that. That, for some people, that's a date night, and that's totally fine, especially if you're trying to do something on the cheap. For us, we do that weekly as well. But the biggest part about date night for us is leaving this house. Because even when on Friday nights and we're here and home, our brains are on the to-do list of the home. Because you're sitting there and you're looking, I mean, even in the backyard, we're sitting there looking, you know, around a fire pit or something. I'm like, oh, we really need to trim that tree. Oh, man, I'd like to redo that landscaping. You know, like, it just never turns off.
Yeah.
When we're here.
Right. You're always thinking about all the things you still need to get done. And it's great if intimacy and romance is included in date night, but let's be honest, this isn't a rom-com. In real life, it's just great to relax sometimes too. So don't have a lot of expectations on it. I'm looking at you guys out there especially. Just take some time for yourselves. You know, it's not ideal to be at home in our situation because typically, like you said, you feel rushed. But day dates are another thing that we just don't feel the connection. The experience isn't the same because you just don't feel as relaxed. You know you're going to have to come home to the kids still and everything else. And so you don't want to have too much fun and you can't go very far because you need to come back. And well,
I mean, hopefully you come back every
right, yeah.
time. But
hope so. Be like, no, we're crossing the state border. We're out of here.
But yeah, day date just didn't work for us because we couldn't get out of that parent mode long enough for it to be a reset for us. Versus date night, by the time we get home at 9 o'clock, like we're not staying out till midnight or 1 people. But, you know, 8, 9 o'clock, we get home, our kids are already in bed. And so we're still able to stay in that frame of mind that we just spent the previous 4 or 5 hours getting into,
right?
You know, to just kind of go and relax and not have to switch back into parent mode.
Well, you already do it before you even get home. You're already thinking about it.
Yeah.
So if a day date's the only option, it's still better than nothing.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that you'd want to make that a regular occurrence.
So here's some date night ideas for different situations and for different stages in your relationship. Go to a wine tasting or a brewery tour. We've done this before. There's in our city, there's so many distilleries and things that are just amazing. Obviously, be, you know, responsible about it. You do have to parent probably the next morning. Go shopping together. This is something Ben and I love to do because we really value each other's opinion when it comes to our clothing. I can't shop for myself with 2 children around, it doesn't
You just
happen.
frustrate yourself.
I just frustrate myself. I don't even go into my sections when I have my kids.
Yeah.
So Ben and I kind of save that for together, go bowling or Topgolf or axe throwing, you know, those active activities that you can do, a local concert or a show. You know, those are ones that we kind of plan out in advance because we're not huge concert goers. But, you know, we already have an Eric Church one scheduled in February that we're going to. Super looking forward to that. It's going to be amazing. Sit and have coffee together. We don't tend to do that just because we go at night and we'd rather sit and have a drink.
Yeah, this could be like a lunch option or early morning.
Early morning. We do sit and have coffee together out front, which is really nice.
I haven't done that as much lately because it's hotter than the hinges of hell outside.
Yes. Go to a drive-in and make out. We've actually never been to a drive-in together.
I know. It's a good idea.
Yeah, that is. Go to a ball game. Again, another good option, and it doesn't have to be like here in Kansas City, we have the Royals. It doesn't have to be that. We also have, what is it called, AAA or something?
Just a minor league team.
Minor league team, the T-Bones, that is like so cheap to go do. And tour homes for sale. So this is a fun little one that Ben and I do. This, one of our favorites, super cheap, obviously. It doesn't cost anything, but this is like what we did last Saturday, is we made a list of some homes that had open houses, and we were very upfront with the realtors when we went in. We didn't waste their time or anything like that, and we already have a realtor if we ever needed them. But we'll go to open houses of homes for sale, or we'll go look at models of homes being built. And this is one of our favorite things to do because it gives us the chance to dream together and be on the same page when it comes to our next home and what we want it to look like and things like that, and what our standards are.
Well, there's some things we didn't know we liked or that we didn't know how much we disliked until we really saw it up close and personal, because the pictures online don't quite do it justice all the time.
Exactly. So why not just even have some of that in place so that when we are ready for our next home, we don't have to go through that process. We walk into it and it's a yes or a no.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
We don't have to go through. We know exactly what we're looking for and things like that. So
and we talk about our goals a lot together, and this really helps remind us about what some of our priorities are. So we were looking at homes and we go, wow, we really need to get a little bit more disciplined on saving up for the down payment if we want to make this happen.
Yeah.
We've been getting a little loose with the finances lately. It's time to cut back a little bit, but we talk about our goals a lot. It could be our personal goals, but especially our marriage goals, our family goals, long term, and it's just a really good activity for us.
It helps our growth mindset. Keeps us in our growth mindset.
Keeps us grounded a little bit too, and remember what's important in our life.
Yeah. And honestly, while you're driving, walking, open up your phone and make notes. So do it when you see it or think of it so that you don't get caught in the loop of, well, what do you want to do? I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? So things like, even there's a park that we walk at that has this little restaurant that we've been wanting to try. And we walk at the park in the morning, so we never even think of it in the evening for date night of, oh, let's go to that restaurant. So, put it in your phone of what you want to try.
So the most important thing to remember is that you were a couple before you had kids, and your marriage still must be a priority. If you let your marriage slip, it will eventually start to affect every other aspect of your life in one way or another. Date night helps with having really meaningful communication beyond just your to-do list and your errands and talking about the kids. It also helps with the novelty and adds more fun to your relationship. It can certainly help with intimacy, stress levels, and just remembering why you fell in love in the first place. Some people say that marriage takes work, but not if you're doing it right.
This week's call to order is to schedule your date night and protect it. Stop letting kids and other responsibilities get in the way. Start with one date night per month and then start to add one every other week and then eventually one per week. You will find it rewarding if you plan it and make the most out of it. Trade off who picks dinner options or activities to make it more engaging. Marriage is a foundational pillar, so make sure that you make the most of it, and it should be fun. If you're ready for your marriage and family dynamic to thrive and not just survive, all it takes is 20 minutes or less joining us each week. It begins with a journey of self-improvement while you sit in the carpool lane, commute to work, squeeze in a workout, or get halfway through folding that laundry pile. Be sure to check out the blog at thefamilyorder.com and follow us on Facebook at The Family Order. If you're ready to start your journey, be sure to click subscribe so you don't miss new episodes every Monday.